point. But Tyranids have, well, there's been a couple of notable changes, but Tyranids got a couple of big ones. Their pyro assets are now that much more faster rate of fire, and their hive ships now have built-in regeneration, which probably means we're just encouraging more and more battleships. But it's a nice welcome change considering they made the tweak to the dang, it was 8 seconds before, now it's 5 seconds. It wasn't a bug, the synaptic relay now only affects hive ships, so my strategy of relying on my battle cruisers to kind of get synaptic control is not all that reliable anymore. And let's see, what else was changed that's of note? Let's see, fighters are now impacted by reload. Those are a couple of the ones that come to mind. Ooh, and a really exciting upgrade. Mars Pattern Reactor Feed. Have a look at that. Unlimited charges on my flagship. It does increase the cooldown, but I love the potential of this. It's just gonna really suck for my Arc Mechanicus if I try and utilize that in any fleet. And Micro Warp Jump has had a bit of a nerf, to say the least. Yeah, 15-second charge up, so it's technically the same as doing actual warp out. So this is not a combat ability anymore. This is just to allow me to transport from place to place. And who knows if there's a weird bug that it may not even allow me to micro warp jump if the ship it's using for fission moves out of range. I'm curious about that. Otherwise, I'm ready to get into it. Even the Chaos Lances have been buffed up a bit. Mechanicus got enhanced even further, so there's some fun to be had. And Necrons got their, I forget what the the reconstruction is now baseline. It kind of shares a cooldown with the Doom Scythes on your flagship, but it is baseline, accessible for everyone, and we got the inertialess maneuver, which is a bit of an odd one, so it remains to be seen how helpful this could be. Especially since we're infesting a skill slot for it, which is technically false maneuver for the Eldari. A lot of little uncertainties, so with that all said, it's time to get started. Oh, and Orc Saps have been nerfed quite a bit, at least with how I was going to use the Saps anyway. It's a lot more simpler to use, but their duration has been kind of half. So we're basically looking at 6 Saps or 6 seconds slow with all my Saps currently. Which isn't terrible, but it is a noticeable difference. But you don't want to hear me ramble on. Hell, let's not even forget the big one, the massive fleets. All the Titan ships are now available, and maybe if we get a few viewers that are interested, I might have one of them join me for a bit of the massive fleet battles. We'll see. But I am interested in playing around with the Tyranids some. And let's see, I gotta keep in mind the point difference too, since they have been made cheaper. And I think I can even throw in a frigate, or a light cruiser. Or I could throw in 2 Krakens. And as much as I hate to admit it, I may replace Stimpy because of this change too. I want Stimpy back, but let's see. That makes up for it. Get a whole bunch of Krakens, although having an additional cruiser is kind of convenient since it would allow for more boarding, since I think I'm leaving myself vulnerable to Necron type matchups. And otherwise, this Devourer fleet. Yeah, that got upgraded to a hive ship, since I'm going to use that more passive. It still remains to be seen if I should use the tentacles on it, but it's good boarding if I can connect with that. And I could throw in an additional frigate if I want to downgrade all my Krakens into Vanguards, which I may not really do. Though it will require a little bit of playtesting, but I think I'm going to play with Tyranids first. With that said, Spore Fields goes without saying. Extra stealth potential is good. It's just a question if the 2-minute duration is working as intended or not. Since they have yet to they have yet to cut out the 2 minutes duration on this text, so maybe that got fixed, maybe it didn't. And Jewel Cam, well, we'll have to see what we're up against. And I'm going to have to seriously look into maybe this Lightning Strike, since normally this would be a terrible upgrade for Tyranids, because you need to get rid of the shields to actually make use of the lightning strike, but with me relying so much on the pyro asset, that may not be a terrible thing. And I do wonder if I want synaptic relay, since I technically do have 2 hive ships here. I'll have to play it by ear and see. But we'll try and get a few matches. If there's anyone on there, they may be just playing with the massive scale fleet battles. It's entirely possible. And I'm starting to realize maybe this is not the most convenient time for doing online battles, perhaps, since the weekend stream was so much more effective to get opponents. Hell, it's always a possibility that we have no opponents. Well, not opponents, but servers could also be down too. It seems like it, but... well, what I mean is that when I log in there, if I go straight to skirmish too quickly, it tells me that I'm in offline mode, which means I don't get any opponents until I can get back to the main menu and let it connect properly. I don't know. I'm curious, the hype is all about the massive scale battles there. And sadly, that is not multiplayer. At least, not matchmaking multiplayer for 2v2. Which actually, I would like to see if they consider doing that at some point. Based off against each other with the most ridiculous stuff. Although in truth, they're probably just going to go all McCraig's Honor or the Great One, whatever that tier one is called, or something ridiculous. Okay. And we got new portraits for everyone. Now, I gotta be mindful what's been changed with Mechanicus. I think it's just the lance damage, in all honesty. Don't think their points were changed that much. I don't think their points changed at all. It's just the lance damage that's notable. And I have 8 Krakens. Sadly, no Stimpy to do what Stimpy does best, but we'll learn to live with it. Hell, I should have a hive ship separate. Have them in like subgroups there a little bit. So you're group 2, group C with the cruiser, and group 4, maybe I just have them grab objectives, since at least that way it doesn't give away where my battleships are. Now, big thing to note. Well, I did have a thought and now I forget what it was. The Drool Cannon, Spore Mine, Spore Fields, let's see. Chimeric Skin would be nice. A little bit. And it's a question if I want this or not. I gotta be very careful about... Actually, I probably do want the Void Lurker to help protect me from Nova Cans a little bit. If I were to be serious. If I were to be honest. And if I remember correctly, rushing does give away my position. Maybe not for the Krakens. That's the only thing I'm not worried. Okay, it does give away my position. And we have 5 ships, so that beacons... Where would that be going? Probably that gas cloud, if I had to guess roughly. It's going to be a slow match, and I don't want to rush needlessly. It gives away my position, as I've been learning slowly but surely. Actually, I should remember to set priority. That's kind of convenient. They even made a change where it's a little bit difficult, or a little more difficult now to destroy the Nova Cans. I just don't know exactly how that mechanic works, though. Now, actually, hive ship should stay down there. Oh, I forgot to set your tracking sensors. Not a big deal yet. And where's that beacon going? Oh, it's just gonna stop here, is it? I could potentially grab it if I'm worried about revealing my other ships. Otherwise, I'm very low on boarding due to just only having 3 ships that are capable of boarding. So I gotta be mindful of that. And I am also curious of... Oh yeah, and quality of life changes. I can now tell when I'm holding fire. Yes, laugh at me all you want now that that's been implemented, because I'm probably the biggest recipient of forgetting my hold fire. I have my reasons for doing it regardless of those mishaps. But still, it's damn nice quality of life change, especially for anyone. That's a shame. Oh well, I still get this, and you fire like 5 Novacans on a god dang Kraken. That's not all that scary. You need to be mindful of the slowing effects, though. I wonder if that... I saw that bar for the capture just going on a little bit longer there. I just don't know what that implies. But that's not a terrible thing. Can I kill you? You are a Gladius, so probably not. Now, gotta be mindful. Gotta be mindful I am getting... Actually, can I just board this thing? Probably unlikely unless my opponent's paying attention. And maybe I can board that if I'm lucky enough. Probably not, but it is flying into my, what are these things called? Ether swimming broods. So it's possible.
You have seized a strategic area.
Okay, so they see me finally, alas. So now I gotta make this damage count. And I have lots of shields to take these hits, and you already kind of fired a single Novacan already. Oh, is that all? Do need to prioritize. The one downside is these things actually do only fire at the closest ship to them, which is a bit of something I need to keep in mind. That could be a bit of a big liability. I am going to be visible here, but I'm already kind of revealed. So that's dead. I'm not stuck just yet, but I am right next to a beacon. I'd rather not get identified or have it permanently stuck on me. So get moving there. We'll try and rush these forward, because if these Krakens take damage, that's not a big deal. We've seen some really big waste. Let's see, I'm losing weapons now, so I'm gonna have to rush at some point, I suppose. Actually, I do have a spore field to kind of hide in. And fighters to help some too. Actually, let me give them what they want, I suppose. I can rush this easily. I did have to suffer a permanent engine crit or weapon critical hit, though. That was not the flagship, but can I do anything about this damage in the meantime? Since I'm really slow... Oh, I do have Foil Lurker, to be fair. I just need everything else to help. Especially my capital ship. So your crew is almost gone. I need this cruiser to get in here some. I am going to take a lot of damage.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic
It's possible I can board in time or rush out of this. Nope, not quite. And you got all sorts of mutinies, so that was probably the one that fired at me too, wasn't it? But flagship's all eaten. You're mutinied. It's about to die, but my hive ship, that is. But fire assaults are nice and tasty. I just wish I had sought to recall these fighters sooner, because they do take a lot of time to get back. And I don't need to worry about crew. You're almost out of crew, but can the hive ship rush? Oh, it can't rush. I should have used the adrenal glands earlier, but we're looking good. And I have foil lurker for when boarding comes up. But for now, let's just worry about slowing them down, shall we?
You have accumulated
I don't actually want a
25%
ram.
strategic points.
There, your shields are about to come back up. I want to avoid ramming since I kind of rely on this thing staying alive for now. But I can board that and seal the deal. I'm just gonna have no shields up anytime soon, so maybe that's a bit of a mistake. Oh. Wasn't paying attention to the scuttle, but that's fine, everything's mutinied now. Now just gotta grab objectives, since kind of been neglecting that a bit. And apparently, these things are permanent. Interestingly enough. So far, I love the quality of life changes. There was one, maybe two things I don't like. I just can't remember what they are off the top of my head. What were they? Or not really not like, but I think I questioned them. Like, they never did change the capture speed, it seems like, of the battleships. So, you still want as big as ships as possible for grabbing objectives. But that's not really a criticism of changes. I just wish I wish I could remember all of them so I can tell you which one, what I'm at least question the most. Yep, this is still capturing a good speed anyway. I do like what they did with the Tyranids though. At least Pyro Acid now fires so much more faster, which means they probably are fearsome in the macro cannon front. I just would love some reason to get the light cruisers or a lot of regular cruisers, because the truth is, my Krakens do the exact same amount of damage as the cruisers do with their Pyro Acid. They just have broadside versions as well to kind of do damage to everything once they're in the thick of it. Which could be a good thing. It's... Oh, and I got an achievement apparently. Oh, apparently I'm learning the ropes, I'm a newbie. What the hell was this achievement anyway? It doesn't want to tell me. You have reached the silver rank. Yay! Carriers? Nothing really big about carriers, aside for the fact that reload now works with them. So you can get them 25% faster, at least for point-blank range type of bombing and harassment with your fighters. But at long range, you're not going to really get any value out of reload. So that's only when you're going in for the killing blow that might be useful. If I were to gauge, there's a lot of changes that can't quite... Let's see, there's a lot of lance damage upgrades for pretty much everything Imperium and Chaos, so... Interesting on that front. Even all the Chaos ships have been reduced in their cost some. So it's going to be interesting if Chaos Lances are going to be more... They're going to see more. Oh, I know what I dislike. The sap change. Maybe it was necessary, but I don't recall orcs going all saps, unless they go with all battleships. So I would argue this technically does really nothing. Although, this actually buffs the battleships, doesn't it? There's one thing I haven't really checked, is the number of saps on these ships. Yeah, they buffed the points except the carrier ships on the Imperium, keep that in mind. How many saps are on, like say for my torpedo fleet? Oh, I was worried maybe this was a nerf. This is not a nerf to my torpedo fleet. In some ways it could be a buff depending, so I'm completely wrong. I was going with that with the wrong mindset, thinking since the saps didn't stack before, but they actually have 2 saps on them, so technically they still have the 2-second slow, so I'm completely wrong. Alright, there's nothing bad I have to say about this patch. Actually, that's not true. I sort of secretly wish the massive fleet option here was at least made available for multiplayer 2v2. That may be a nightmare waiting to happen. But it at least encourages players to do more multiplayer, even if it is going to be broken as hell, since it is just a stupid, silly, just for fun type of mode after all. I kind of would have secretly liked that. I just couldn't tell you what the response would be for that change, or at least implementing it all. But I think that's the one thing I'm a little bit let down, just slightly. Otherwise, this is going to be interesting to test out. Inertialess maneuver, they made the structural reconstitution baseline for the flagship now, which can be a bit awkward since it does share the cooldown of your Doom Scythe and your Cold Arms. And it even still has the 3-minute cooldown when you activate it. So if you use that, it's 180 seconds on all 3 of those command abilities, not just the structural reconstitution, but still 90 seconds if you use your Doom Scythes or Cold Arms. It's a little bit weird, but I'll have to play test it some. And Micro Warp Jump, I feel like it may have been nerfed a little too harshly. I love the potential of it being used as mobility, but of course, you've seen my matches, you've seen how I use it. I don't use it for utility. Hell, a lot of people would just use it for escaping. It can't even do that effectively since you could just board them now, and you lose the charge and suffer the cooldown if it gets interrupted by a boarding. So it's going to be a little bit awkward. It might... there should be some kind of delay maybe to open up possibilities of punishing that. Although, I don't know what exactly that entails. Just being able to board and cancel it would just neuter this ability no matter how long the channel is, in all seriousness. Since players would just hang on to boarding options, especially if the shields are down, then negate that. Since Micro Warp Jump has always been problematic even in Armada 1, you almost exclusively had Micro Warp Jump since every one of your ships could be equipped with it. So, while I loved the mobility it gave, it strictly was used for combat potential. And then otherwise, there was something else. Oh, I was talking about the saps. Oh, I was talking about my Apocalypse change. I was my Lance fleet. Since they buffed or nerfed the points, I assumed maybe this was a nerf to my fleet, but in truth, with the increase to the Lance damage, I am doing the exact same amount of Lance damage as I did before, technically. Plus, I managed to sneak in a Dictator now for whenever I have to deal with damn Drukhari and their damn Impalers. So, arguably, this is a buff for me. It just may not seem like that unless I want to switch to something else like a Gothic maybe, for even more Lances. It's just going to be a bit awkward due to the shorter range. But otherwise, this has potential. I still dislike 2 frigates because of how fragile that could be, but I like it. Yes, I am so excited for that. The Mars feed, or Mars pattern feed, it's just going to be really difficult to use on an Arc Mechanicus, so you're probably only going to see this on a cruiser or flagship most of the time. But I love the potential. Just constantly have means of a stasis bomb at all times, or if you think you can get away with it, a single Novacan shot for when things really drag out, which are very rare. But yeah, with that realization of orcs, I think I'm going to dive into them next, but let me play some more Tyranids. Only thing I dislike, I guess absolutely dislike, just for bias sake, Synaptic Relay is now specifically for hive ships. It used to be for the battle cruisers, which was kind of essential. So I would think for my my Tentacle fleet. So this is no longer a practical upgrade for me. Nonetheless, I'm going to play one more with the Tyranids, I think. And then I'm going to play with a little bit of Orcs, see if there's actually merit with all the changes they made to the Lance upgrade. Arguably, it's just a quality of life change for me. That's assuming my torpedo fleet had any legs on it to begin with. But hard to really say what I dislike. I kind of was still hoping they pull back a little bit on the extreme amount of capture speed they did for battleships, Grand Cruisers, and all that. Maybe cut in half. I don't know realistically what I would have liked. Since I can understand why the frigates were so nerfed heavily in their capture speed, since that's really all they would do, wouldn't it? They would never contribute to the fight, they would just steal points behind you. Hell, they technically still do, even with the slowdown. I am on Atlantic Standard Time. So it's 8 o'clock now here for me. Okay, I'm not translating for you. You're gonna have to leave it to your own thoughts on what the hell we're saying. But this should be silly. Is it? Okay, I don't know what a Charlaton's gonna use, but since the pyro assets were kind of the big thing tweaked, or at least enhanced, maybe we're having an exact mirror match of some sort. Either way, this should be fun. How the hell am I going to detect my opponent? Well, that's kind of easy, to an extent. And I can cause fire assaults, but Spore Fields kind of helps my opponent. And this is the odd thing. Speed recovery, Void Lurker, I don't know what to seriously expect, but we'll do this for fun. Hell, all the points are in the middle of the map, so it's not like I'm going to have a convenient way to grab objectives. Actually, and another neat, I apologize if that was incredibly loud, but another thing they actually did is, tracking senses increases the range of lances. So I wonder if there's a possibility for Tyranid bioplasma to be a thing. If I was honest. Now, I'm gonna have a listen out for him, because nope. Well, we know where kind of a Charlaton is, vaguely. And if a Charlaton's watching a stream, he knows where I'm at. I'm at a huge disadvantage. A Charlaton knows I do videos and all that. I just don't know if he ever watches. But nonetheless, I think the smart thing would not be rush, just to kind of keep him guessing, but I know my opponent's on the right there. So I want to at least be able to conglomerate my fleet together. Actually, maybe I can rush a little bit. Maybe I should have done that right away to kind of mislead a tiny bit. And if I launch fighters, I might get seen. At least the hitting would be a giveaway. How the hell do I best do this? It's a weird matchup, it goes without saying, but then again, almost all the mirror matches are a bit weird, aren't they? Because you're so used to 12 different factions, and almost so rarely gain a mirror match as a result. It's always weird, even if you know what you're doing.
Seized a strategic area.
I'm just wondering a safe way to kind of spot my opponent. To at least open up on damage potential. These frigates can grab stuff. There's chances are there's a frigate over there. Okay. Well, I kind of already knew they were there. And I heard beacon, or pulse. Although, that may have been a huge mistake giving away where my flagship was. At least the fires are a little more subtle. If only a little bit. Now, the big question is, since I'm using pyro assets, it's really easy for a Charlaton to kind of force what I shoot at. Since again, I can only shoot at what's closest to me. So I need to be able to do a lot of damage in a hurry. And maybe commit to ramming to kill stuff quickly.
You have seized a strategic area.
The Kraken's a bit spot, but they have chemionic skin, which honestly could have been a bad choice. A bad upgrade to get.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
But these things are just, at least the Krakens are just as powerful as, say, for cruisers, so it's not too terrible just yet. I need to hit. Oh, and they're massive claws. Okay, at least I got a really good con kit. I can fire like potentially 3 ships at once, depending on how. Alright. And Arties, I think the priority is to focus the flagship down. I was sort of expecting maybe we'll get.
The enemy has seized a strategic
The problem
area.
is, again, I have to get through this thing if I want to attack it. Which is probably not going to happen. And I gotta... Do I lock on or not? I don't know if I should or not. And I'm... Dang it. I burnt retros on everything, didn't I? Which is a mistake. But I am hitting... Again, I'm hitting multiple targets, so it's not terrible just yet. And I should launch fires to protect myself from potential ether swarms. And see if I can rush this thing down. Yeah. If I don't get rammed, this is actually going to be a bit of a stomp, I think. Okay, here comes the Void Lurker. I did not, alas, get the dang ability to do my own Void Lurker. I chose that for a supercharged Void Shield. Can I kill this thing? Because I'm now getting rammed. And I'm not going to get to rush anytime soon, but everything is dying.
25% of strategic points.
I am boring, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this might be a losing match because all my frigates are now dead because of the shields. And I did no damage to the flagship just yet either. And we're not even at the point where we got them close to killing off the crew anyway. It's ridiculous damage on this one hive ship, though. That's made apparent. Oh well. Maybe I should have just committed to killing what I could. It can be a bit of a fallacy to go after the flagship, since after all, the strategy relies so much on going after it. But I don't think that counts as a real match. I'm gonna give it a moment.
The enemy has
and then try and re-queue with the
50% of
Tyranids.
strategic points.
But the damage was a little bit ridiculous if I played a little bit passively, or a little bit slower. Maybe that's a bit of a problem of mine, is trying to get too aggressive. Since it was looking good there otherwise, my Krakens were just getting eaten by the shield effect apparently. Since I don't know if they really got rammed all that much. And again, maybe chemionic skin was a horrible decision too. I could have gotten synaptic relay to get a little more longevity. It's nothing else. Well, shield regeneration, that could be a thing too. Which maybe I should have considered, but again, fire assaults basically is extra damage for me. So I kind of want to get as much critical hits as possible. A lot to consider. Tau did not really get nerfed. They got... The Custodian was reduced in price, and I don't think they really did much else to the other ships. Oh. Warcast Diplomat is now... They are no longer immune, but it does give them a bit of a bravery bonus. Which means the War Spears have a -10 bravery now with that active, and Demiurge I think have 15 bravery. So it's technically a big nerf to the War Spear and heavy Demiurge type fleets. They're still effective, mind you, since they're almost not penalized, if not have a positive modifier to their bravery, which could not be said for the rest of the Tau fleet, so there's still that, but they're not going to be an immovable wall for you, depending on what fleet you're utilizing against them, that is. Although if you're referring to secret missiles, there's been no tweaks to that just yet, at least for the fleet cost or anything like that. So you'll have to try and dodge them or tank the hits to the best of your abilities if you want to get past them. But at least I think that is a big nail on the Kroot War Spear, the 4 War Spear fleet. Let's see, Corsairs. If Adriani, only the Phoenix got a buff. And it's like 20 points cheaper, but sadly, it's not enough where I can fit it into my torpedo fleet, because what I would love is somehow get 4 dragons and then squeeze this in here, but apparently I'm 70 points short. It is cheaper though, so maybe can I sneak anything in for this fleet here? It doesn't look like it. I don't even have enough for a frigate just yet, and still with 200 health I am very low to use these for what they have to offer compared to maybe the Corsair's frigate, for crying out loud. And Azuriani, I don't think they got any changes at all. Hell, even the Azuriani light cruisers, at least the torpedo cruisers, still only have one charge to their torpedoes, so they're all sorts of screwed. But I'm really interested with what they did with the tracking senses, since my fleet, my Drukhari fleet, actually benefits nicely from that. The flagship and my frigates all get extended range to their lances whenever I use my tracking senses stance. So I might have some fun with that at some point in the near future, but Impalers, the ships only got nerfed a tiny bit. So they're what, about 20 points more expensive? So you're not going to get 3 frigates as 3 dying suns. Hell, you could just barely. You can't even. Okay, you can fit a carrier light cruiser in if you so wish, but not really much else. So I don't know if that's a significant nerf, but it's there nonetheless. And actually, do I feel interested in trying some. Actually, I already said that that last match didn't count for Tyranids, so let's get back into it. Grab my stuff. Again, it may have been a bit of a liability just fixating on the flagship. It's always a liability if you do that wrong, because after all, remember all that damage I was doing even before I got in melee range. And they were crushing claws too, so I could have just continued to rush away and get free damage, since I technically go the same speed as them with my double rush potential. Nonetheless, I'm talking too much again. Let's do this here, and I did tease maybe I'll do a massive fleet battle there if anyone wants to join me. Since I think you could do the skirmish 2v2, you would just need to add me on to Steam, I suppose, if that's gonna happen. It's just a fun clusterfuck though. It's the good kind of mess. Since there's no matchmaking MMR to it, it's just the fool around. It is against only AI, mind you, unless you fight to. I think you could go up against a friend on Steam in 1v1. But nonetheless, it's just silly fun. I kind of wish that it was available for multiplayer 2v2 though. Which could still happen even though it's gonna break everyone's PCs trying to do it there. Because having more fun game modes is always nice. It's just a question if it has the longevity to keep people playing. Playing that game mode specifically is what I mean. And if I were to be perfectly honest, I haven't even got to the point where I got any of the Titan ships in the campaign. So I don't even know what they can do. Aside for the one time I tested the McCragg's Honor just to see what it looked like. That's pretty much it. I'm committing heresy right now. I've been fixating too much on the multiplayer, I suppose. Since I'm on what, turn 85, turn 90 or something on the Imperial campaign. Just to give you a rough idea where I am at the campaign, I just reached Medusa now and secured that entire sector, which I think is one of the Space Marine chapter worlds, the Iron Hand worlds, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And I have the bonus objective for the system next to it. So I don't know how far along I am to the Phalanx or the McCragg's Honor. Well, it is sort of a grand strategy type of thing. It's just it's a linear type of grand strategy. It's not like as multiple factions that are just as fearsome as you are. You just have to it's basically the management portion without the actual without the actual AI bots, I suppose, controlling their own faction. It's just randomly decided based on threat if your opponent does something or not. Oh, hop in system. I haven't played Total Warhammer all that much to know exactly how that works. Yeah, there isn't really much population there, but well, everything's pretty simple, I guess. But that's just me. It's an improvement from Armada 1 in my opinion, so if they ever get around to Armada 3, that just means they can build upon it. Hopefully towards that dream of a true grand strategy-esque type of feel. Hopefully without compromising too much of the story. I'm happy with it overall. It's just a different take on the campaign compared to Armada 1, without a doubt. Now, we're dealing with Drukhari. Spore fields. Yeah, all the gas clouds are, of course, way over here, which I'm probably going to be nowhere near if I want to hang on to objectives. So I gotta make my own. Oh, control AI armies. Can they control the enemy armies? That would be a disaster waiting to happen. If your friends are a dick. But, let's see. I want these two Krakens. Actually, why am I too worried about stealthing? I should just friggin' grab the points and then rush into the middle. If I were to be serious. Since my Drukhari friend's gonna have a massive advantage on me as far as the objectives if I don't try and grab them quickly. So they're ready otherwise. It's gonna be interesting, but I can deal with the boarding incredibly well. Hell, I played against Drukhari my last Wednesday stream, was it? So I do need to set priority though. You could do this against Drukhari, which is why it's easy to tell what the battleships are. I just gotta be smart about moving my fleet. Or rather be faster about it. But I know two battleships are over on the left here. And there's a beacon. Oh. Well, at least they're telling me where they're at. That's mighty nice of them. I don't care so much about being revealed if I can get spore fields to kind of conceal myself some. I just don't want that stuck onto me. Ideally. Actually, let me tighten these groups a tiny bit more, so... Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, I guess, is what I'll do.
You have seized a
My opponent can hear where I'm at, but...
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
When I want to hang on to my fighters just in case. And I never did bother to get a beacon, which may be a bit of a mistake. Alright, that's got to be the flagship there. And I got regeneration and lots of hull in this thing. So they can take the hits pretty well, I just gotta spot them and actually hit them. And I gotta remember to use my fighters for the Impalers, if there are any. And I'll grab those objectives pretty soon too. Oh, I forgot, I could scan. And they're torpedoes, so that's important to note. The tight clump is important. I just gotta somehow start hitting them. They only have 9,000 range, so in theory my flagship can hit them whenever they engage me, right? Yep, even my bioplasma can now with the extended range on tracking sense. It's just a little bit awkward with the control. Yes, hit me. I gotta grab the objectives pretty soon there. But I have 2 points behind me. Actually, I think they're scanned. But what I might do is try and ram and kill one of these things. Ah, dang it. Awkward control striking again. Because everything's too cramped. Maybe I shouldn't have gone with 4 or 5 ships a group. Because otherwise this is what happens. I can't move anything. But I also want to be kind of in a tight formation as well, to an extent. So you're going to be Group 4 there. See if you can at least threaten one of those ships really damn well. Actually, the cruiser can join as well. Scanner pulse. So that's the flagship there. I just gotta grab these objectives to force something, I guess. Is what it's looking like. And you can just grab that objective easily enough. I just gotta be mindful about that last point on the side. Ram it. Sadly, I am on all sorts of fire, but... ah, dang it. That was not what I wanted to do. But if I could keep hitting it there... look at all that damage we're doing. Just with 3 Krakens. Now, can we continue to make it hurt? Because I want to get these objectives, especially with all 3 of them now down here. They're all dead, but look at that absurd amount of damage we just did. I feel like that was worthwhile. Just maybe should have took the initiative and grabbed these damn objectives or points.
You have seized a strategic area.
Let's see, that's 3 Krakens there, so maybe I'll have all 4 of them. Gotta be mindful about doing this badly.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Yes, they get the objective, but I can grab these 3 here easily enough. And one of them just warped out altogether, so that makes my life a lot easier.
You have accumulated 25% of strategic points.
So let's try and manage this some. Gotta be mindful that I am gonna be vulnerable to torpedoes with these ships. Let's not get too complacent. We did it once, let's do it again. Yes. Murder! Hey there, buddy. How's it going? Do you want to die? I think you do. Come to my waiting arms. Oh, you're not coming to my waiting arms. I'm disappointed. Well, that was
you have seized
brutal.
A strategic area.
Oh my, someone forgot to read the memo. It was always like that. Oh my, someone doesn't know the rules, I guess. That was absurd. I won't lie, because after all, they are friggin' battleships. I should not be getting that many critical hits, you would think, right? Even if they were frigates. And also, I did get some fire results just for doing ramming damage to them too, so there are still intervals where they get critical hits. Unless, what is the critical hit chance? Keep in mind, I did have lock on or tracking senses, so 21% and another 50% there, so 30.5, well, it's about 32%. 31.5. Yeah, fires are fun. Just imagine how ridiculous it would have been if I decided to drool on them. Although, it would mean I would not have Foil Lurker in hell. I didn't really use my Spore Field all that best, but I was kind of thinking I was playing a longer, more drawn out type of match and not killing them immediately at the same time. It's nice to see things melt. Maybe not so satisfying due to the fact I'm literally vomiting on them, but we won't pay attention to that fact. We're Tyranids, we don't care. Yeah, those were torpedoed Dark Eldar too, so there was a real risk of my flagships dying quickly if they committed to trying to jump me, but if I can see it, at least I can rush out. Alright, I think that's satisfying me for eating stuff. I will have to play with my tentacles a bit to see if I can make something work without relying on that synaptic relay. And of course just figure out how to make good use of his hook tentacles too. Since I do like this playstyle, it's a little bit of a weird one. Since I'm literally doing no damage, I'm just dissolving the ships, killing off the crew and then just melting them with my shields. Yeah, I saw him torpedo frigates, but to be fair, that torpedo salvo almost killed my Kraken even though I was kind of as narrow as I could be. It's a questionable use, but when you have 4 charges for each battleship, it's not really a big deal, is it now? It's the 83 armor my opponent had a really hard time getting through with those scythe missiles. And it showed, on top of the fact I was regenerating health too. That cannot be understated. Nonetheless. Yeah, I already said I was going to go this route. I was kind of contemplating maybe replacing the Rock for an additional battle cruiser, but maybe it's not needed since I have an easy way to get the guaranteed 12 seconds slow, which is going to be ridiculous, of course. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe the tracked cannon bug is fixed. I remember trying some AI skirmishes and I don't recall seeing, was it the Shock Mega Attack Gun? But that's a different skill altogether too. So I may have to play with that with my commandos at some point. But without a doubt, tracked cannon is a must. And what's our best look? Well, not really much looks. I need to play more orcs if I want to get fancier logos, because apparently I'm a noob. I'm a noob, guys. I don't know if you want to watch this stream anymore. I only made it to rank 2 as orcs. Cruiser. Any good strategies with Imperial Navy? It's been a while since I played a whole bunch of matches with Imperial Navy, but I feel like it can fight Drukhari well with my... Let's see... Yeah, I remember playing the Drukhari Impaler fleet with my Exorcist and all that, and that seemed to do well. It's just, of course, losing due to how quickly they steal the objective is a bit of the problem. And we have Tyranids there, so what are we expecting? Well, boarding is kind of not really helpful, aside for the hull damage I might get for my Ludas. An Orc Lady. I thought I was picking Orc Lady. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I think I took... last I checked, I think I took the right gender. I'm hoping I did. Even though I'm a little bit biased towards the male characters. So I don't think boring torpedoes is a good thing, but maybe I could just blindly fire my boring torpedoes and see where the torpedoes actually start getting shot down. A silly way to figure out where my opponent is. But my saps aren't going to do a whole lot here. Wog Song might be important. I'm just wondering what would be good here. Really? Torpedoes and saps, there's very limited upgrades. And what else? I don't know. I probably should seriously have all my ships able to shoot torpedoes, but I'm just monologuing too much, it feels like. I should be ready by this point, because all I need to do is control groups. There we go. Frigates and frigates. Actually, I want reload on you. Or was it brace for impact on you? It's a whole new world. I don't really know how I should approach this, especially since I don't know what fleet I'm exactly up against. Let's see, stasis bomb might be useful, tractor cannon. They changed this a tiny bit. Oh, wait a minute. The text says it pushes them a bigger distance now. So, I don't know if that actually got buffed or it's just the changing of the text. Okay, so we know there's like
The enemy has seized
cruisers
a
there.
strategic area. The enemy has seized a strategic area.
And honestly, I think I just go straight for the kill there, ideally.
We's ready.
I don't quite... Actually, I have boring torp.
Retro's on.
I already kind of know where everything is, and I see
Retro's on.
I see your little spore field.
Ox is best.
I don't have mega cannons though. That's going to be a bit of a problem as far as killing them quickly. I got to be good about my torpedoes.
You got it. Ox is
I can do a
best.
good amount of damage with the torpedoes, but using a lot of boring torpedoes is going to take too long for the hull damage to start kicking in. And I hear them all over the place.
We's ready. Move that junk.
Alright, so I should start revealing pretty soon there's what it sounds like, although that might just be frigates.
You got it. The fight is over here.
So when do I scanner pulse with that said?
The fight is over here.
Because I would like to make sure I have at least one pulse available when warranted.
Enemy ship sighted.
You have seized a strategic
There goes
area.
Vanguard, I can still hit it. And I don't have to slow, which actually, if that affects the rush, maybe that was a mistake. If I can get some good light damage early on with the saps.
Ox is best.
Since that took a lot of damage there,
We's ready.
I'm just worried about running into the rest of the fleet carelessly. Especially with another spore field coming up.
Ox is best.
That's on fire, that is dead.
Here we go. Yeah. Enemy ship sighted. Let's show 'em. Enemy ship sighted. What do you want? Hit the red button.
Oh, did I do that right? Nope.
Ox, ox.
Torpedoes are bad, but it's still going to be good ramming hits at least.
You got it, boss.
And we have torpedoes for over here.
More Dakar.
I do have heavy guns on the side, so maybe it's not too terrible. Ah. And the cold arms now does half damage, so
Move that junk.
I think he still has double rush though.
Ox is best.
I'm gonna have tractor cannon up in a moment. Actually, the cooldown's locked, is it now?
Enemy ship.
So actually, that's not true.
The enemy has
And you could
seized
just
a
ram.
strategic area.
What do you want? Our escort went boom.
Just kill the cursed thing. It's actually important to actually keep these frigates alive. If I were to be honest, since I need them for spotting.
Ox, ox, ox. Yeah?
Ram it!
Here we go.
So that's pretty much almost dead. Actually, I should be trying to feed,
Strategic area.
get the crew back up here too, since I don't really want to lightning strike too much.
Over here.
That is trying to board me though. Can I kill with torpedoes? With that
You
said,
have seized a
Ah, dang it.
strategic area.
you got lucky with the permanent critical hit on that board threshold, which is even more reason why I should have been paying attention to that.
You got it. Here we go. Yeah?
And let's see. The rocks, unfortunately, is kind of not doing much there.
Let's show 'em.
Yeah, and you just want to bore me this, since he knows that thing's dead, although I did turn everything around when it probably shouldn't have.
Over here.
Ah, dang it. I let it get the heavy troop casualties too, which was probably also another mistake.
Ox is
Since,
best.
let's see. Ah, permanent engine destruction, geez. There's supposed to at least be sometimes temporary critical hits when you lose the crew that much.
Faster, you grots.
Let's see, that's melting. Is it getting dissolved? It is getting dissolved, so
Yeah?
we know there's something there.
Move that junk.
Just not very helpful for me.
You got it. Oi, the ship's got holes in it.
Okay, and the flagship is over there, or are these just yeah, they're the full carrier version.
You want us
All right. I'm not gonna be able to do enough damage to
You got it.
do anything noteworthy there.
Faster, you grots. That one was full of grots anyhow.
Okay, there's that one there.
What do you want?
And we know they're coming over on the left. I do have heavy guns, but we'll see how helpful that is.
25% of strategic points.
Can I at least grab this extra objective?
We's ready. Move that junk.
This is the one situation I probably would like a little bit of fighters to help deal with the boarding.
Orcs is best. Enemy ship sighted.
And boarding. Ooh, we actually get boarding torpedoes for a change. It's a light cruiser, so shouldn't be too excited just yet.
You got it, boss.
But the longer this drags on, the more spore fields we're gonna get.
What do you want? Retro's on.
And I do have lock on, so can I hit with heavy boarding?
Ready.
Yeah, that's the
We's
board.
ready.
Can I punch this thing nicely?
You got it, boss. Yeah. You got it, boss.
Yeah, I just didn't know how much that would actually push me, so... Torpedo's probably not gonna hit. Maybe? Okay, I'll take that back.
Hit the red button. Orcs is best.
You have seized a strategic area.
Flagship is not dead, so... But it is kind of not really doing much either,
Orcs, orcs, orcs.
to be honest.
The
Oh,
fight
for
is
shame,
over
you're
here.
Okay, you're ramming my ship.
Move that junk.
Can I kill that? Well, I am sapping it, so... Maybe I can have multiples
The
of
enemy
these
has
clean up for me.
accumulated 50% of strategic points.
And I have another scan up.
You got it. What you want?
So I can kill that with some effective
The fight
saps.
is over here.
Just gotta be mindful. Oh, another spore field.
Retro's on.
And more engine critical hits too.
You want us
I see
over
where they
here?
are though. So at least I got that, and I'm not gonna be able to rally anytime soon.
Enemy ship sighted. The fight is over here.
Can I at least start hitting torpedoes? Sadly, actually, if I could tractor into the torpedoes, that might be good.
Seizing one of your strategic areas.
Not quite.
Orcs is best.
They negated it really
You have
quickly there.
accumulated 50% of strategic points. The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Yes, I know my engine's gone,
Orcs, orcs, orcs.
but that frigate's gone at least.
Here we go.
Scanner pulse is about to come up.
Enemy ship sighted. We's ready. Move that junk.
I can hit it, but gotta grab the objective still.
One.
Otherwise, I'm still gonna lose some. And I think I just heard the boarding parties launch, so that's something to be mindful of as well.
Orcs is best. You want us over there? Yeah.
Ah, all the boarding parties.
Go.
At least that should at least keep it from being a derelict, if nothing else.
The fight is over here.
Alright,
Retro's on.
fire torpedoes. Actually, I have no scanner pulse, and
He's ready.
you're in a bad spot to accommodate me.
You ain't the boss of me.
Maybe not as impressive as it could have been, but they still hit.
You got it, boss.
I just wish I could do more damage to follow it up on.
Here we go.
And I'm being revealed by the fighters, so I can't just conceal myself in the... Unless you have pressure spines, do you? No, you don't have the pressure spines.
Orcs, orcs, orcs.
And the stacking of these spore fields actually have a stacking slow too, which is something to note as well.
Faster, you grots.
And of course, no surprise, the flagship is the one that's like the cheapest ship in the fleet.
Get to work, you lazy.
Not really a fan of that kind of shenanigans, even though it kind of is encouraged with Tyranids. Well.
You got it.
That was still fun, but I could have avoided a lot of these engine critical hits by transferring crew a little more proactively. Never mind the permanent critical hits just for reaching the first phase of... or the first casualty step too.
You got it, boss.
And I do... well, let's see, your mutiny. Everything's all dead. Or not working anyway.
Faster, you grots.
Because I do have mega heavy guns on the side too, so that's noteworthy damage. If I can get in the thick of all of them.
You got it.
But
Fight is over here.
it's the first time I get to see drawn out type of Tyranid play, so getting aggressive if I can somehow afford it with stasis bomb and tractor cannons is pretty useful for me. So that way they don't have the high amount of these spore fields, because otherwise I can't move at all.
We'll fight another day.
Since they just keep putting the spore fields down on the same spot. Oh well.
Taking damage, boss. An escort ship went bang, bang, boss.
I could have just got the sap slows, remember. That would have solved that problem immensely, especially if it slows down the rush itself. So yeah, that's the easy answer. Just go with the slowing saps. Since the Wog song wasn't really a factor at all, surprisingly. But slowing them down could have helped a ton. Again, that's like 2 seconds for each of the battle cruisers. So I was wrong, thinking I wouldn't need it because of previous experience with Tyranids liking to get in my face. That was not the case. If I'm able to reliably get multiple torpedoes in as well, that would really help complement the heavy cans on the side. I would just have to get through the shields. Which I don't even have a disruption bomb to help in that matter. At least it doesn't look like it. Next up, actually you were asking about Imperial Navy fleets, so I've been having good luck with the Lance fleet, surprisingly. It's been working well in my matches so far, but then again, I haven't played enough Imperial Navy to perhaps get that matchmaking up either way. So I'm a little uncertain there, if there's actual real merit to it or not. Actually, do I want the disruption bomb since I have so much range? Oh, you want full carriers. Really? Well, the easy answer of course would be to go Tau. They're easily equipped to go all carriers. What would be a good carrier fleet? Maybe Chaos. Eldari could, although they're limited on numbers. I don't know if Adeptus Astartes counts as carrier ships since they're all about boarding, so using the Thunderhawks aboard is just adding to that. Only one I could think of maybe is Chaos, and especially with them being cheaper, they're just not the most durable. And I don't know what the speed is on these cursed things as well. I'm assuming it's what, 400 movement, so they can be outran. That's a bit of a problem there. I do have some lance turrets to help do some chipping damage, but how many carrier ships is? Well, I would like to. I don't want to go all top heavy since that tends to be how I get the most fighter bays. If I were to be serious. Actually, I don't think I want to spoil it if I'm just gonna do hit and run anyway. And 124 points for spotting. 2 points short, but they're lances. I don't think I care about them too much. I wonder if I could go back to Scourge, although that's probably potentially the worst type of carrier fleet to go with, since the fighters are easily countered due to torpedoes just randomly being fired or just anything to distract them. It's really difficult to do damage a lot of times, even though they're the most reliable to get to them. Yes, well, let's see. The Despoiler has 5 fighter bays, and the Stig has 4. The problem is the Despoiler is slower, especially with the nerf now to micro warp jump. So I am missing out on a single fighter bay, but I keep the speed of all the cruisers. I don't like the prospect of this fleet, especially. But boarding could be an option. Killing off the crew, since I talked about the bombers being slow, but the boarding parties actually go. At least the orc boarding parties go the same speed as the fighters, so maybe there's something to that. And I don't know if that's all assault actions there, since because it says here a boarding action, but I need launch bays. You would assume this is for boarding parties, right? I'm still confused with how that works exactly. Then otherwise, do I want to change any factions, or are there any unique sub-faction skills I want? AoE Cloud, Slanesh Promise, Stasis Bomb might be better for kiting. Thousand Suns to hide myself, there's a thought. On a critical assault action, it's tempting. Every time I get a critical assault action, kill additional troops, I get fire assaults. It's still a question. I don't know how these skills work together. That's the only thing I'm uncertain of, because this would be amazing if I can get a lot of boarding in. Start killing off the crew as well as start burning them for maybe the killing blow after the derelict. We'll see. Now for actual skills, well, I already got them there. And I don't think I want Auger Disruptor, since that will run out of charges. Oh well, let's give it a try. What could go wrong, right? I embarrassed myself horribly. That's the worst that can happen, right? But if I can get the boarding in, since I can get one Stig to launch the fighters and then have the rest try and board. The problem is, I'm only going to be able to board 3 times for each carrier. It's not like I can make them return safely. So, I do need to prioritize a little bit with the assault crafts. But we'll see what we get. So we get orcs. That's a possibility. They're slow. We can deal with that pretty well. At least start boarding them pretty well. They just got really cheap ships, so not likely to go in my favor since I don't have actual firepower. But I do have the speed to at least avoid them some. And best of all, orcs are weak against fire. I just would like to try and force them to prepare early, so that way I can get more fire assaults immediately after with more boarding, potentially. I never really done anything with boarding for Chaos, so it remains to be seen if this is going to play out how I want. Yes, 600 speed. These things are just as fast as the fighters, so that can work really well. And they're slow enough that the bombers can do gradual damage over time. Problem is, if I'm going to play an objective style game, which this kind of encourages, I kind of want to be spread out. And that's going to be hard to have these two fleets to support each other with the fighters. At least do more burst damage is what I'm trying to say, they might have to go after separate targets. And I don't have a mission dissipator. That's something I'm kind of overlooked.
Your orders.
Let's see. You are a frigate.
Show us our victims.
Frigate. Huh. So there's only 4 cruisers unless there's some in the gas cloud, which is more than likely the case.
For the War Master. Swift Death Squadron, seeking prey. Dead claws away!
Yeah, there's actually cruisers over there. I kind of figured as much.
Seized a strategic area. The enemy
So
has
we're only
seized
dealing
a
with half their
strategic
fleet, but
area.
let's see if we can maybe do some good damage.
Your
Although,
orders.
maybe I should have waited a tiny bit. These assault boats are likely to get shot down.
We'll follow your command. For
Gave it a
now.
moment or two for the fighters to take point, but these ones look like they're fine.
Reporting. We stand ready.
Otherwise, not much else to say. I'm just observing to see what happens.
Reporting.
Since I'm not seeing the critical assault chance getting amplified here at all in any way. So probably that was a bad upgrade to get. Oh no, I don't have it. I got siege flamers instead. Never mind. I thought I had an upgrade I didn't actually
Enemy
have.
ship sighted. Show us our victims.
Let's see. Boarding. That's a light cruiser. So probably what I wouldn't want,
Your orders.
truth be told.
Show us our victims.
You have seized a
Ah,
strategic
dang it.
area.
My boarding parties all got shot down in the second one. That was the one I thought was actually safe, surprisingly.
We stand ready. Locking weapons.
The enemy has
So
seized
clearly I
a
was wrong,
strategic area.
but I still got more boarding parties where I came from.
Swift Death Squadron, seeking prey.
Oh yeah, I still have to
Dead claws away.
Alright, let's get them out of here.
Reporting.
We got boarding parties, but that only has like 3 charges at least, so I got that going for me.
For the War Master.
Now, what's my combustion gauge looking like so far?
Engines hot.
Still good in this front for now. The fighters intercepted my boarding parties.
Sighted.
I don't know how that happened when I have fighters there. But most of them still boarded, so that's still good.
For the War Master.
Now, how the hell do I do damage? Because what I should be doing is trying to split up to grab points.
We stand ready. As the War Master wills. Swift Death Squadron.
Now, how many boarding parties I have? Just the one.
We stand ready.
Now, I did prioritize engines on them, but we're running into the battleships. And these ones have mega cannons, so
Show us our victims.
there's one way to go about this, and that's to turn around and disengage from them fully. And actually,
Orders.
my cruisers or frigates should try
Slaughter.
and see about contributing with some torpedoes.
Ruinous powers.
Oh my god, apparently our troop damage has still managed to bear some fruit. Since we are getting fire results, and that one there just nearly had a mutiny on its hands.
As the War Master wills. Reporting. Executing high energy.
To the point that my opponent is trying to rally a bit, an encouraging
Engines
speech.
hot. Swift Death Squadron, seeking prey.
Can I get the boarding parties I want?
We'll follow your command. For now.
I am wedged into a corner, but at the same time I have a stasis bomb.
Slaughtered them.
And actually,
The enemy
gotta
has
be
seized
mindful
a
of that factor
strategic
too. They
area.
are mega cannons. Damn it!
Repair that damage at once.
Get moving, damn it. I guess I have to stasis bomb now.
Disengaging.
Oh,
Setting
all the
course.
combustion gauge is spent, so this might suck a bit.
For the War Master.
But that thing's all sorts of screwed. That's gonna mutiny in a moment.
Return to the war.
If I didn't let my combustion gauge burn, I actually could evade this.
Swift Death Squadron, seeking prey. to those
But potentially I'm still okay with the lightning strikes.
I cannot master.
Okay, engine's down, but I'm in
We
Nova
stand
Can
ready
range or Mega Can range.
for the ruinous
So I can't get
powers.
complacent.
Dead claws away. Retros activated. Dead claws away. We are unstoppable.
You have no engines, but I'm gonna dodge in nonetheless. At least try to.
Retros activated. Doomfire's unleashed.
Should have waited till I had more bombers, but can I at least get some more troops up?
Show us our
Damn it,
way.
too late. I got the heavy step when I didn't want it.
Follow your command. For now,
Took too long trying to fight these things. Now I have to deal with 4 battleships.
we stand ready.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
And I have no fighters or anything available at the moment. Probably because I still need to recall most of the ones that are out.
Ruinous powers. For the War Master. Swift.
And sadly, that thing can just mutiny or rally, so I'm not realistically expecting a lot here in a moment,
Accumulated 25%.
since this mutiny is probably going to get broken in a moment.
We are unstoppable. Engines hot.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Alright, try and evade, do what I can. See if I can at least get
The
some
enemy has seized
hope
a
here. But
strategic
you still have your Mega Cannon on that thing.
Setting course. Reporting.
That Mega Cannon's gone.
Moving to those coordinates.
Just not quite doing what we need to.
Set engines to full
I'm just
ahead.
wedged into a corner right now. I should try and go right past them.
Engines hot.
And I do have a frigate to kind of reactivate that thing, but I haven't really gotten any objectives to kind of warrant this playstyle just yet.
Retros activated. For the ruinous powers.
And I still... Oh, I used up all my assault boats. That might be why.
Disengaging.
Yeah, I used up all my assault boats.
Your orders.
The boarding did good damage considering we're facing off against something that has really good crew complement at least.
We are unstoppable.
It's just a game of attrition at this point, which
That's the War Master will.
did not work out very well.
We've lost the ship.
But getting the fire results on assault boarding critical hits can be useful, since that's what, 30% chance to get a fire result as well as additional crew damage? That's not too shabby. Yeah, the problem is with the World Eaters is, again, I'm dealing with orcs with a lot of crew, but that doesn't help a whole lot there, since we still had 3 battleships to get to. But I do like the potential of the fire results though. They did the morale damage to basically kill off the light cruisers and cruisers basically on their own, on top of the morale damage that was being done from the troop damage itself. Yeah, splitting up, but the problem is, well, they can't support each other. Then the Siege Cloud was completely useless if I'm going to do a route or go a route that splits me up, since this only protects 2 ships, so I need a different upgrade. It goes without saying. There's just not much here that helps with the... Doesn't help at all there. If I go World Eaters, I at least get the Bloodletter parties. So maybe, as much as I like my Flamers, maybe that might be better. I would have to get excessively close though, which does not seem to encourage carriers though. But splitting up would probably be better so I can steal points behind them, since I have battle cruisers, they can steal them incredibly fast. So we'll try that. Do want to figure out what kind of upgrades would be nice. Maybe the beacon's the only one I can realistically think of. At least that way, if they try using gas clouds to deter my fighters and all that, at least I could detect them. I'll give it another try there quickly. Do I want to go World Eaters or Siege? I really like the potential to fire assaults, but killing the crew might be better because that means more fire assaults when they lose their entire crew. And it does open up for this. Maybe. Not entirely certain. I'll have to play around with it a bit, needless to say, if I'm going to commit to it at all. But at least the mobility does encourage me to split up, so I'm going to try it this time around. Let's see if something sticks a little bit better, because again, we were dealing with something that kind of that's pretty close to being a counter just on how the orcs work. They have the cheapest ships in the game practically, and they have really good crew complement to go with those cheap ships. So I would have to somehow rely on bombers after I do my boarding damage, essentially. Which isn't too terrible, I just don't think they can do the damage necessary because they also have additional health on those cursed things. So I argue in some ways that's kind of a counter to what I was trying at least. It's definitely different. The boarding, I like the speed of the boarding, the assault boats at least. At least that way your opponent just doesn't kite all day if they have like all ahead full or anything like that. And then just wait until they get shot down like with the bombers with their 400 speed. But even then, I could be happy that those cruisers and the light cruisers went down at a pretty good pace, pretty effectively. It's just, there were still 3 battleships for crying out loud to have to deal with. Which maybe if I stasis bombed them exclusively, that would not have been a big problem just because of the tractor cannon. That's what I should have done. Much more aggressive stasis bomb in front of at least the flagship if I'm going to avoid it altogether. And then I have to keep an eye on not using up all my combustion gauge. Missing on that kind of time there is a big deal. Especially when I need to get moving. What are we up against though? What are we facing this time around? Alright, so I have the speed to conveniently dodge Nova cannons. They have a low crew complement, so this goes well. It's just the point defense that are a bit problematic. But that's a slight point, since they have far less ships to deal with. And my fighters can easily distract the point defense long enough for the assault boats. So this, in theory, can go well if I get the boarding in. Again, I just don't want to go too ridiculous on the boarding, because cold arms will get increased value that way. So a single assault boat to maybe force it out and then maybe commit to killing the crew off entirely once it's off cooldown, or once they turn off, is probably warranted. Actually, I probably just want to reload for the time being. While I have lance batteries that are guaranteed to do damage over time, we are not really relying on that a whole lot when we have a lot of shields to get through. So you heard here, folks. I apparently won because of a cat. I have a secret admirer. I don't know what that cat wants, but apparently it wants
As
something.
the War Master wills.
Like, yeah, staying within range is going to be kind of tricky if I want to grab objectives too, though. That's kind of the catch there. And they have a lot of gas clouds to hide in too.
We stand ready.
It's a sign from the gods, it's a sign from Nuffle.
Show us our victims.
Oh wait, that's the wrong game, that's Blood Bowl.
Setting course.
Let's see, frigate over there. Maybe 2 frigates.
Your orders.
And we'll grab these really quickly too. I know that's a ship of some kind. Or a cruiser, so I'm just gonna go after it regardless. But
Squadron seeking prey.
You have seized a strategic
I am tempted to
area.
just
The enemy has
scout
seized a
these gas
strategic area.
clouds. There's gonna be a lot of downtime for me, but if they're in the gas cloud anyway, I can't really board them, can I
Show us
now?
our victims. Show us our victims.
So let's see what we can find. Also, there has been... They increase the amount of damage you take from being in the asteroid belt, so I kind of want to avoid doing that.
We stand ready.
It's a 50% increase, 4 from 6, so maybe we might take them seriously. It's only really the morale damage I dislike from the asteroid belts, which is why I want to try and avoid them, but
You have seized
the damage
a
itself when it
strategic
mitigates
area.
armor is not that significant. Oh, emission dissipator.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
I hear him right here.
Enemy ship sighted. For the ruinous powers.
Yep, they're right here. My fighters didn't spot anything.
Moving to those coordinates.
Oh, I know who this is. This is the one with the dang, the one when I played against Eldar. Sadly, awful time to use up all my combustion gauge, too.
For the War Master. Swift Death Squadron seeking prey.
And my fighters are out in the middle of nowhere, too. This is gonna be awful. And oh god, I don't see... Okay, there is a bolt. Never mind. I thought I couldn't see it at first.
Setting course.
I guess this fleet wasn't meant to be.
For the War Master. As the War Master wills.
Because my fighters just barely missed him there. And I used up too much of my combustion gauge to get turned around quickly.
To the slaughter. For the ruinous
And I'm poorly equipped to deal with this, such a close range engagement too.
Prepare my ship or else.
The only thing that's in my favor is these things aren't actually faster, but did my assault boats even do anything?
Show us our
I don't think they
victims.
did.
We are
And this isn't even the
unstoppable.
flagship with that set either, so that does me no favors either.
No, we must escape.
You had your shields up and yet you still took morale damage.
As the War Master wills.
This fleet was not meant to
The
be.
enemy has seized a
Oh yeah, the
strategic
bloodletters. You know that would have done really nothing anyway, even with 10 boarding actions or assault actions.
We stand ready.
Since I want to try and grab objectives after all, this isn't like when I could be Eldari and just avoid super easily, I
Moving
guess.
to those coordinates.
I have to already be facing away from them.
Reporting.
Oh well.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic
Let's see, 10 assault
points.
actions. How much damage would... I'm just wondering how much of the crew would it even kill.
Successful, Master.
It wouldn't have killed off a light cruiser, alas. But yeah. I think it's time to stop fooling around with the Stigs. Although I really could have used, well, I knew where they were immediately when they boosted, so even if I had frigates in place, that wouldn't have helped me much. I just used way too much of my combustion gauge trying to turn around quickly. So that's a shame. Let's have a real match, though. Let's see how the Drukhari works with the extended range trait. And let's see, micro warp jump. Did I even use micro warp jump on my Drukhari fleet? I don't think I did. It was just slows and slows. Double slows, I think, is what I did. And I killed the shield so quickly anyway. But rain blades are supposedly working now. So maybe we can use these against Eldari, Corsairs, and Ezriani, maybe. And Spirit Crystal Lens is supposedly fixed too, so we'll see what happens there. And let's get a helmet on for good measure. Because that's what people like to see. We got an immediate opponent, so it could be the same fella. We are prepared for it. Maybe. We have the mobility at least. Yeah, it's the same fella. So this is not going to go the same way, I think it's safe to say, but I wasn't able to effectively engage regardless when I played against all light cruisers with my Corsair fleet. So it didn't really do me much favors anyway. I just won by the objective and abusing the battleship's capture mechanic, or speed of capture. So this may not be too exciting, but I probably want to kill off their battleship regardless. And no upgrades I really want to change, but I do need really good early warning about where they are. Goes without saying. So group 2... Actually, group 2 is going to be grabbing my objectives and back. Simply put. And maybe I could conceal my other ships. Not conceal them in this gas cloud. Going to be a little bit weird. Maybe that's not a huge issue. I'm just trying to get the value out of my actual concealment without revealing myself. Is what it ultimately comes down to. But yeah, these guys kind of hang back anyway until an opportunity presents itself. But if we're dealing with all light cruisers, I just need to see them. And these guys are not going to safely be able to engage light cruisers. They can easily dodge the torpedoes, and they're so much smaller too. Actually, I want to deploy better so that way I actually get full charge of the shadow field. I'm thinking too much because I'm already revealed. Gotta stop doing that, I suppose, but I am trying to stream as well, to be fair. So gotta keep it interesting somehow. Okay, I know where you're at. This time there's no element of surprise. Maybe I should have checked that earlier, actually listening for a damn boosting.
We shall flay them all. What aids the cabal?
So actually, I just need one to reveal, and the R2 could just hang back and we'll see about getting...
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Now you're just giving away your position. I want to actually put an effort in, damn it. Although again, these things are probably what I should do is have these go my battleship and frigates harass the light cruisers, and then try and get these cruisers prepared to deal with the battleship. At least it denies their one ship that's capturing. Now I gotta get ready to... I gotta try and detect them quickly, so at least they can get some bearing. So I know where they're at. So I guess I'm forced... I guess I'm going after. And what I should do is prioritize the deck. Because of course it's not running.
Seized a strategic area.
With all speed. We move.
It's gonna take a little bit of time.
What is your
I know where they're at. They are prioritized at the moment.
What is your wish? Engines to overload! What aids the Cabal? If it please you.
Now, I gotta keep in mind my opponent is boosting.
Agreed. The Cabal is all.
So let's not get too carried away.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Good amount of damage though on that thing. Nothing serious, alas,
You have
but
seized a strategic area.
What is your wish?
I heard them boosting. That was a bit of a mistake, but because I hear them boosting right there.
How may I serve?
Damn it! That was not what I wanted.
We move.
Not that it matters that much, I suppose, but still.
Aids the Cabal. With all speed. What is your wish?
Now I just, again, this is the thing that's causing me problems because it's just grabbing the objectives so quickly.
The Cabal is all.
The light cruisers, and that's also kind of the sweet spot where they want to circle around too.
We shall slay them all. The Cabal is all.
Now, I'm doing a bad job controlling my frigates, sadly.
What
No.
is your wish?
Where's the beacon? So it's right, they're all right there, basically, is what I'm seeing. But,
How may I serve?
again, messing up a bit on the control.
Let the engine scream.
Oh, they're coming after here. Or at least they're checking this
How may I
direction.
serve? We bring death. We shall flay them all.
I think I'm tempted to just go dive bomb this, but we'll see what my opponent's doing.
I see slaves to be claimed.
Okay, I suspect as much. Can I punish?
All.
Dang it, I got detected, so maybe my ruse is ruined.
What aids the Cabal?
Yeah, my frigate's also too damn close.
The Cabal is all. If it please you, we shall flay them all. What is your wish? With all speed. What is your wish? Feel our onslaught.
My torpedoes aren't doing crap for damage, are they?
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic
And I could have bored them too a little bit better.
How may I serve?
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic
Now, can I
points.
kill this
The
thing? Make
enemy
it
has
worth my
seized a
time.
strategic area.
Let the engine scream. What is your wish?
Because I need a frigate there too.
Action complete.
Not well, that's not technically true. I have reload and torpedoes.
Let the engine scream.
And you just boosted into an awkward spot, so...
Action complete. Slaves taken.
Now I just gotta grab this objective and finish this battleship off.
Fear our onset. The Cabal is all.
So that thing's out of the fight, but I want to kill.
We shall slay them all.
Yeah, that's abysmal with my frigates so far.
I see slaves to be claimed. What aids the Cabal? Fear
Can I kill that quickly? Because you're just gonna give me this objective, I'll take
You
it.
have seized a strategic area.
if it please you.
Now, I have other slow effects and I can grab this objective now. So like I said, that battleship was my biggest burden as far as grabbing objectives.
How may I serve?
Now I could just evade these things really well.
The Cabal is all.
Now you have to split up, which really hurts your firepower a lot. Alright.
You have seized a strategic area. You have seized a strategic area.
What is your wish?
Now, by all means, go after that, please.
We bring death.
That's gonna take so much of your time, because now I have hold fire, so I'm not gonna accidentally give away my position. Let's see. Oh, the boarding stacks.
What is your wish? With all speed. If it please you, we shall flay them all.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Now, can we murder these quickly? Because, yeah, they're gonna turn right into these quick.
Aids the cabal. With all speed.
I kind of would like to not ram myself all that much, but
Unleash the dark.
I like to think that's good damage.
The engines scream.
Now I just gotta hit with torpedoes for it to matter, truly.
The cabal is all. Fear our onset. So much pain.
This might hurt.
What aids the cabal?
You have
Case in
accumulated
point.
50% of strategic points.
With all speed.
This might hurt as well, but might hurt me more. And I actually helped my opponent. Oops.
We move.
Yeah, if you mess up, that goes horribly wrong quickly, doesn't it?
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas. The enemy has accumulated 50% of strategic points.
So, that was a... I could still lose this. I kind of got a little complacent, think it was already victory.
Let the engines scream.
Especially since I'm letting my frigates die, which are pretty damn important.
We move. Coming about. We shall slay them all.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Agreed.
Alright, I think I need to start getting my head back in the game.
Bring death.
When my opponent conceded, I was a little bit thinking maybe I had already won, that they were going to concede for me. But it's not quite over yet.
Fear our onset.
Next destroyed.
Halt. Let the engines scream.
You have seized a strategic area.
Now this might have been a terrible idea since I don't have my right bone shift to just get behind them.
Slaves taken. If it please you,
4, 3, 2, 1.
the cabal is all. Agreed.
Now,
We shall flay them all.
all the ships are hitting at the moment. I'm doing a bad job controlling these two, but
Fear
let's get ourselves an extra kill. It's still 100 points.
weakness is
I don't know what the hell happened to you, but I'm not allowing it.
How may I
The last thing I need is to lose my frigates.
with all speed.
Yes, the flagship's out completely, but is going to... Oh, he had rally, never mind.
Cease fire.
Can I kill this thing?
We shall slay
Kill the
them.
flagship, that will do something for me.
Preparing for new strikes. How may I serve?
Let's see, that's dead. I'm getting a little bit complacent, aren't I? But all the ships are on lock-on, so...
If it please you. What aids the cabal?
Yeah, I think there's still enough point to...
You have seized a strategic area.
I guess they don't know.
We move. I see slaves to be slain. The cabal is all. We shall slay them.
Well, I didn't Well, let's see. I'm getting a little bit side thrown off a bit, but this is already over. Since, yeah, the Imperial fleets are the popular thing, but any kind of fighters is really good at dealing with it.
With all speed.
Now we're just wasting time, it seems like, at this point.
Engines to overload.
You are close to
No, we'll just kill us off.
strategic points.
I'm gonna get ram it, but I guess it only has 50 armor, so that's... Is it 50 armor? It should be 67, yeah. So it wasn't gonna do that much ramming damage.
Wish. How may I serve?
They are definitely annoying, though. I have yet to... I think I fought only one that had the flagship Drukari battleship with actual fighters to protect the Impalers.
You
A
have
near psychic
accumulated
levels of called shots. This is
75%
doable,
of
huh?
strategic points.
Yeah. The light cruiser spam, I suppose. I think he's talking about the merit. How... If there's any merit to it. Well, in all seriousness... If I were to be serious, why would you take Mechanicus for light cruisers? When you can just go with the same kind of fleet with the Imperial Navy. The only exception might be is that these are a little more expensive. You just have less morale, less troops. It's a little more glass candy, I suppose, with Mechanicus, and you have the damage upgrades. Or at least you have access to the Rad Tempest device, I suppose, as well as the Thunderbolt. Which is kind of what, I guess, what my opponent was doing. I'm just trying to understand the thought process of going with all these endeavors, or which one was it? The endurance is here. So yeah, 103 points. How much was the Imperial Navy version? Let's see. Yeah, these are actually cheaper. It's... Huh. So, I'm guessing my opponent decided to take the wrong faction for that. I have no idea the thought process. But yeah, these apparently are cheaper. They have more morale, more troops. They just miss out on the point defense. And the skills. That might be the only other thing I can think of. So I'm not quite sure what the thought process was there. But maybe that was not the best of a stream, I will admit. A little bit of fooling around, a little bit of just silly matchups. Especially with Chaos trying to figure out the Stig fleet. I don't really care for fighters in general, if I were to be honest. And this is not helping me with wanting to consider taking a carrier heavy fleet. The only one where it naturally works is Tau, but they kind of got seeker missiles to make that easy, don't they? Your bombers are technically your seeker missiles, and you can launch fighters to screen for them. Is what it simply is. Ah well, I'm gonna have to play around with the Tyranids a little bit more. They're always fun. Especially since they're one of the few factions I've yet to focus on, so I need to work on them a bit. And otherwise, we'll see what happens. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Like I said, I don't feel like this may have been the best of a stream with all the silliness being done, but I feel like the Drukari match in general was pretty good until it started getting into a discussion there, I guess, about the practicality of the fleet, I suppose. So we'll see. Have a good night, everyone.